going on, everybody? Thanks for downloading the Voice of Bedlam podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Santoro. We got a great show planned for you guys today. But let's get into the co-host and introduce first up, Devil John. What's going on, John?
This is kind of like my Friday, but it's also kind of not my Friday because we still got a lot of work to do because we got another show coming on Saturday. So that means everybody that's listening right now, make plans to come out and hang out with us on Saturday at Mother's Bar and Grill in Easton, Pennsylvania.
Absolutely. And let's say hi to our friend out there over in the UK, Sam Stocks. What's going on, man?
Good. I think Mother's Bar and Grill might be a bit far for me to travel Saturday, but
you're excused, but you're not.
You're
excused this time, but you can't miss the draft times because if you get a crappy drafted team, I want to blame you for the picks.
All right. Well, before we get any further, let's remind you guys we're gonna have a special guest on tonight. Our second musical guest. Last week we had Corey Pierce from God Forbid. Tonight we'll have singer of Blank 77, Mike Blanks on. We're going to talk some NASCAR. We're going to talk the new album and a couple shows they got coming up as well. But before we get things rolling, let's tell you guys about who we're sponsored for this week, and that's FanUpNetwork.com. It's fantasy football time, so pay attention to the next three words: Fan Up Network. This groundbreaking app allows you to view all your teams, gives you player updates, injury news, and advice from fantasy expert. That's right, everything you need found in one place, the Fan Up Network. Get the app now by visiting FanUpNetwork.com or search Fan Up in your app store. Streamline the process and gain the edge. FanUpNetwork.com.
Yeah, don't lose all your hard-earned money that you pay to play fantasy football and not give yourself the tools to win, people. You gotta win, and you got to have the tools to win.
And with that, let's get things moving with today's Daily Breakdown. All right, well, we started off Tuesday's show talking about the lawsuit filed against the Hall of Fame, Canton, Ohio, and the NFL for the cancellation of the Hall of Fame game this past weekend. But now, according to NFL.com, the Pro Football Hall of Fame is offering reimbursement plans to fans who attended the 2016 Hall of Fame game. Tickets will receive a full refunded ticket as well as a reimbursement of many expenses, including all processing, shipping and handling fees, prepaid parking purchases through the Hall of Fame, pre-sale reservation fees, and one night of hotel accommodations to eligible fans. Now, this will all be subject to appropriate review and approval and verification. So I think the NFL is doing a good job righting a wrong here. I don't think, I think this is a good answer to it. What do you think, Sam?
Yeah, well, I think at this point they've just got to try and limit the damage as much as they can, because the whole thing was a bit of a mess, really.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I think it is a preseason game. I'd be pissed, but if I was going to receive one of these packages, I mean, I'd be all right with that. You know what I mean? What do you think, John?
It's a preseason game, like I said in the last episode. This is kind of right on par of what I thought that they were going to do. I thought that they would just throw in an extra game or something like that, especially an additional preseason game, which is really not as much as. But I did not say that they were going to be reimbursed.
Yeah, so I think that kind of.
So I think they might be listening to our show and gathering. So
yeah, Roger Goodell, what's up?
Hey, Roger Goodell, how you doing? And if you can send that percentage over my way, please, for my work. Thank you.
Okay, all right. But let's take another quick break here and remind you guys about this new United Sports app that's getting ready to drop September 15th. And if you guys want to get your invite code before the new app drops, which is going to be a huge NFL, well, really all sport gaming app, you guys, to get your invite code, have got to email staff@voiceofbedlam.com and get your free invite code today. Now, this is going to be a completely interactive game that is actually going to allow you to compete with people all over the world, and there's a lot of popular endorsements going around right now. People who are going to be playing the game, names like Ray Lewis, Wayne Gretzky. So there's a lot of people involved, and you guys are going to have
Voice of Bedlam's involved.
You guys are going to have an opportunity to compete for hats, shirts, game tickets, and even a brand new car. So if you guys want to get an early invite code, it will be available in the App Store after September. But if you guys want to get an early invite code, email staff@voiceofbedlam.com now. Now, let's move on to the next story with today's Daily Breakdown. Talking about the allegations, Ryan Lochte, the Olympic swimmer, and 3 other Olympic swim team members claimed that they were assaulted at gunpoint over the weekend after a night out in Rio by assailant posing as a police officer. Now, that was the original story, but now according to FoxSports.com, on Thursday, the AP cited an anonymous official with direct involvement to the investigation and reported that 2 of the swimmers, Jack Conger and Gunnar Bentz, told police that Lochte had fabricated the story. John, what do you think about this?
Honestly, given the fact that I was just watching some videos of young kids, like preteens, maybe at the oldest, trying to jack ladies for their purses, and people on the streets, almost like straight up like pickpocketing without being discreet at all, and and quite honestly, to see that. It ended up being them just being drunk and stupid, and then paying for their damages being an undisclosed amount. But honestly, this is nothing new to what we know. We know that for the most part at the London Olympics, there was quite a lot of fraternizing, as we'll say, to keep it PG-13. So a lot of prophylactics were being used, and so it's these Olympians are they're wild at times.
All right, but according to the official, the swimmers reportedly broke a bathroom door at a gas station and were approached by an armed security guard who confronted them without unholstering his pistol. The station's owner then confronted the men and asked them to pay for the damages done before leaving the scene. The swimmers, as John said, reportedly gave them an undisclosed amount. Now, Conger and Bentz were pulled off an airplane and detained when they were getting back to when they were getting ready to depart from Rio.
Yeah.
Now, Jimmy Fagan, he wasn't even as lucky. They seized his passport, and they wouldn't let any of them leave the country, and they were detained until they had given statements. Now, the biggest swimmer named in this, of course, being Ryan Lochte, he did make it back to the States in time before his passport was seized. Now, he is a 14-time gold medalist, and the other 3 were detained, but now they'll be released, I guess, since they were given their statements. I don't know what's going to happen with Lochte as of now.
Well, I think with enough people, they already know what happened, and honestly,
but he filed a false police report. That's
that could be this is an ongoing. It's going to be an ongoing story for sure. To see how they follow up.
Sam, why do you think they did this? I mean, it seems like it was settled. It says, according to the new statement, it says that they paid for the guy, which I would think meant that they left on semi-good terms. Then why did they dream up this story? It seems like the whole thing was handled. I could see if it was like a criminal act and they ran, but it seems like the whole thing was handled. Why do you think they made up the story, Sam?
It may have been something to do with the image. They may have tried to think if they got this kind of other story out there, then their image would look a lot better, and they would look maybe more innocent in the whole situation. Because for them, they don't want a bad image of them where they basically gone out and got got drunk and whatever and caused this mess. So maybe they thought because of where they were in the situation there and that they had more influence in the media and could have their story be the story that everyone heard and everyone talked about rather than what actually happened.
Yeah, I think there's also another angle that we could look at it as well. Because I like how the term for the money exchange was undisclosed. Because here's the thing, I'll use it with an example. Let's say you smack into my car, and I say, look, man, just give me like $300.
Yeah.
Give me $300 right now. I won't call my insurance, and we're good. But then I called the insurance later that night.
Yeah, I got you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they're like, nah, we're all good here. You just give us some money that will make this go away. And then what did they do? They ended up going to the police anyway.
Yeah, okay.
So
That's
I can kind of...
I get you there. That's a good motive. That's basically what I'm looking for is motive.
Yeah, so I could see that because, like I just got done saying, Brazil's not in the best economic situations right now. Not many countries are in great economic situations, but Brazil more so than most because they're in their, as we discussed with their preparatory work for the Olympics, a lot of things were just not copacetic for living in habitable arrangements for these Olympians.
Now we're going to take another second here and remind you guys, if you guys want to start your own podcast, follow in Bedlam's footsteps or see if you could do a better job than us. I'm up for a challenge, but if you guys want to get a month free of podcast hosting, you guys got to go over to podbean.com/r/bedlam. That's podbean.com/r/bedlam. Now they will give you a free month of unlimited bandwidth for your show, so you can really get a good feeling and see if you want to do it before it even costs you a penny. And when you're on there with Podbean, you'll be able to get on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, all those platforms. So you got to be at Podbean first. So hit them up for a month free, podbean.com/r/bedlam.
There's a reason why Voice of Bedlam uses Podbean is because it's easy to use and it spreads out to all different avenues. If you got an Android phone, if you got an iPhone, it doesn't matter what phone you got. As long as it can connect to the internet, guess what? We got you covered. Podbean got you covered. So use that promo code of podbean.com/r/bedlam to get a free month of great service.
All right. Now, with that, we'll wrap up today's daily breakdown. Ooh. And we're going to get on the line with Mike Blanks real soon. But before we get there, let's do an article spotlight with Sam Stocks titled "The Other Football Also Returns." Sam, why don't you tell us a little bit about your article?
Well, it's the return of the Premier League last weekend, and I think this season in the Premier League, as far as the other football, or soccer as you guys call it, is going to be one of the most interesting we've had in a long, long time.
And why is that, Sam?
Yeah, who's your front runners?
Last year, with Leicester kind of being like the biggest shock probably in the history of the league or the history of soccer or football, depending on which one you call it.
You can call it football.
Yeah, just call it football. It's the original football. We've discussed this.
See, John's all like hate, and like has to like put a pucks on like NFL football. You can just call it football.
Call it American. No, because like think about it, and like I said before, it's in American football, there's only 2 times in the game, technically 3. Sorry, the kickoff, the field goal, and the punter. That's the only 3 times a foot is touching the ball.
That doesn't change the fact of the matter that this, in America, this is football. That's how we go by it.
Yeah, it's because we're too simple-minded to understand the fast-paced game of football. But,
all right, Sam.
But let's talk about real football, Sam. Let's do this.
Well, with Leicester kind of being a shock win for the title this season, I think no one really knows what's going to happen this season, and a lot of the big clubs have had new managers and big new signings come in. There's been world record signings of around 90 million for Paul Pogba to Man United this summer, as well as like some of the biggest name managers like Jose Mourinho and Pep Guardiola have come to the Premier League, which kind of means all these teams that had a down year last year, that are normally the big teams that tend to do well, all rebuilding in their own way, and there's a whole lot of new things coming in this year, whether it's managers or players, and it's quite a tough season to try and figure out.
Huh.
Okay. Now, who do you have favored, though?
Well, almost everyone, as far as the so-called experts or analysts we have out here, have put Man U or Man City winning the league because they've got the two big-name managers in Pep Guardiola and Jose Mourinho, as well as like big-name signings like Pogba and Ibrahimovic at Man U, and like Nolito coming in at Man City. I think the fact that people missed is like just having these big new name like big stars doesn't always bring instant success. It quite often takes a lot of time to adjust, especially to the Premier League, which is a lot more physical and a lot faster flowing than a lot of other leagues around the world. And for these
Similar
managers,
to the NFL. Similar to the NFL.
yeah, it's similar. It's probably, I mean, I don't want to put a down on like the other leagues because like, I mean, Bayern Munich are an amazing team. Barcelona and Real Madrid have amazing teams. But when you come into the Premier League, especially for a manager, every single week, the team you're going up against is capable, well and truly capable of beating you if you don't play your best football. Whereas in Spain, Barcelona and Real Madrid, half the games they can put out aside and be 4-0 up at half time and rest some of their key players.
Yeah.
Now, what about Southampton?
Well, everybody's kind of been down on Southampton this year, but it's been the same way for the last 3 or 4 years. They've predicted them to finish lower and lower, and we've actually done the opposite. And I think, as far as where I see them finishing, I put them 5th in my prediction because I think the club just seems to know what they're doing. They do a lot of smart business. Although they sell key players for big money, and they bring in other players that seem to be just as good, if not better, for a lot cheaper. When they sold Adam Lallana a few years back, there was kind of this thought that they couldn't cope without him, and he was the star in the team. And they brought in Dusan Tadic and Sadio Mane for less money than they sold Adam Lallana for. And Mane's now been sold as well for nearly 30 million, and Dusan Tadic is one of the stars in that Saints team.
Now I have a quick question for you. I saw your top 20 predicted, and West Ham is not even close. Where would you put them then?
Well, I put West Ham a bit down this year because, I mean, they have a lot of change, and with change there is always some struggle that comes with that. They've signed a lot of players, but they've had a lot of change not only to the team but the way they operate as well. So it's definitely going to be tough for them to adjust, and they've got the whole stadium move and things. I can't see them carrying on the kind of form they had last year, so I think they've finished just in the bottom half.
Yeah, that's why I was confused, because they were pretty strong finishing out last year, and that's why I thought that trend would have continued going on into this new season with a bunch of brand new things. Like, it was like, hey, the way that they finished was like, it was almost like a bright start. It's like, hey, next year it's going to be brand new things, but look at the talent that we're bringing along with it into the next year. And that's why I was a little confused to not see them anywhere in the top 20 for you.
But I mean, I think I had them 12th in the Prem, which, I mean, it's going to be tricky for them, but
you did? Yeah, because is that where you have them, number 12?
Yeah.
Okay, because in the art, all right, then there was a little problem with the article then, because it says 11 Everton and 12 Everton.
Well, a little typo there.
So,
thanks for pointing that out, John.
No, no, you're welcome. So
go over to voiceofbedlam.com and see it for yourself.
Exactly, and you could have been that one that noticed that.
But let's look over more towards the top of the list now, kicking it back over to Arsenal. What do you think of Aaron Ramsey this year?
Well, I think he's one of those players that can really develop into a star for them, and they've got a lot of talent in that midfield. But this year, especially through the summer and the Euros, he's kind of taken that step forward where he's been more important and a bigger player in the Wales team than he maybe is in the Arsenal team. And I think this summer we might see, I mean, unless he gets injured or struggles with like his fitness after playing through the whole summer, then I think he will take a step forward and become one of the key players for them this year.
Yeah. Now, I do have a quick question. Who do you think is going to be the sleeper team in the Premier League this year? Who's going to be the one that everybody's downplaying right now, but they should really not be downplaying them as much as you think?
Definitely Watford, because most people seem to have them towards the bottom area of the Premier League, and some even predicting them around the relegation zone, potentially in trouble there. But to be honest, I think they've had a solid team, and what they've done is they've built their team smartly. They haven't invested huge amounts of money, but they've made clever signings and kept the key players there. So they've got Igalo and Deeney back, which was definitely a lethal strike for us last year. I think they both scored double-digit goals, and with those two have another year together, and they've got the kind of the same manager, the same system, that whole team is going to have a chance to grow together, which is similar to what Leicester did over the years. They added a few important signings, not big money signings, but they added some depth and they added talent, and then they built with the team they had.
Yeah, I honestly, I would have thought of West Ham going into the season probably maybe around like 7th. I don't know. But then again, Everton, there's so many, as you eloquently said in the beginning of all of this, that the Premier League is not called the Premier League for no reason. When you're going up against a team each week, you're going up against a team that is going to compete at the highest level all around throughout the whole season. The talent is pretty well spread out there.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, you look and you think you might see a team down in 10th or 11th. You think, I'd expect them to finish higher, but then when you really go through it, it's who do you drop down? Because you expect Arsenal to finish high, you expect Man U, Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Tottenham. There's so many teams that you expect to finish maybe in the top 7 or 8. You'd look, just by looking at the team, you might think, I think they're going to finish top 7 or top 8, but then if you add up the amount of teams you say that about, you probably got to about 11 or 12 teams.
Yeah, but in translation to, I guess, American terms, like Arsenal and Man U are like the Yankees and the Red Sox. We don't want to see you always in the winning areas. We want to see somebody else step up. But I think this might be the year though of an underdog. I'm feeling it this season. I don't know about you, Sam, but do you feel that? Do you feel like this might be the year for an underdog to undermine these top, we'll say top 3 teams that are usually in the running?
Well, I feel like it could be a surprising year. It's been over 10 years since Arsenal have won it now, and I feel like
similar to what happened with the Patriots before their last one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a down era for them, but I mean, they've had so much consistency, and now with all these other teams around them who have kind of had to completely rebuild with new managers and a lot of new signings, they're the only ones that have stayed consistent and stayed with the same kind of group. It's like in the NFL, if you change general manager and head coach at the end of every season, it's normally very hard to ever go anywhere. It might look good that you've got this shiny new general manager and shiny new head coach, but if you want to win and you want to have success at the top, then you need to keep consistency together throughout the years.
Indeed.
Now, I mean, if you guys want to read this article for yourself, make sure you guys go over to voiceofbedlam.com. Check out Sam Stock's latest post. The Other Football also returns. So make sure you go over to voiceofbedlam.com now. Check that out. Check out all the posts. Also, I just published myself article, The Unraveling of Victor Cruz. Now, on Tuesday's show, I said that Victor Cruz, if he was not to practice on Wednesday, that I didn't think he would make the team. Yeah. Not necessarily that it had to be Wednesday, but pretty much now. And that's the line I set. He didn't practice, and I'm saying we have seen, as much as it pains me, the end of Victor Cruz in New York. Now, we're going to spend a quick couple minutes on this real quick, and But basically, I mean, Cruz didn't participate in Wednesday's practice, and today it now makes 676 days since Victor Cruz has taken snaps for Big Blue. Now, Cruz was signed as an undrafted free agent out of UMass the day after the 2010 NFL draft. A lot of people don't realize, but Cruz, well, I know people know he's from Paterson, New Jersey, but he actually grew up a Cowboys fan. Ain't that some stuff?
Hey, they were America's team through the 90s. So.
Yeah, that means he's a bandwagoner to me. I'm sorry, Cruz. I'm sorry.
Hey, he was on your team.
Yeah, I love Victor Cruz. Don't get me wrong, but I think his time in New York has ended. Now, he really burst onto the scene in a Week 3 preseason game in 2010 when he scored 3 touchdowns, helping the Giants win 31-16. Now, of course, any fan would remember Victor Cruz's 2011 campaign with the Giants winning the Super Bowl against the Patriots for the second time in 4 years. Now, Cruz, actually, he missed a decent amount of time in that Super Bowl game, but it was the biggest year of his career, and he had a really big championship game the 2 weeks previous. But now, with this torn patella that he sustained in the Eagles game all the way back in 2014, it really looks like the time is over. I mean, he had the hamstring all year last year, which was due to the fact of the patella from favoring the other side, and he still hasn't gotten on the field, and the Giants have drafted Sterling Shepard with the number 2 overall pick, who really mirrors Victor Cruz. Sam, why don't you tell me what you think about Sterling Shepard? Are you as high on him as everyone else is?
I think Sterling Shepard is potentially going to be one of those players that we look back at in a few years and say, why did he not go even higher? And
I hope so.
So far, everything looks great for him, and the best thing is he's not winning purely because he's big or he's strong or he's fast. He's
5'10", 204.
Yeah, he's got the good technical route running, those good abilities. I mean, he looked kind of like Antonio Brown in the way, like, he just runs all the routes really well, and he doesn't have the size, but he gets it done with good route running, good cuts, good ability, and a good understanding of how to play the position, which is really the key thing that I think leads to success in the long term.
Now, as a senior with the Sooners, he had 86 receptions for 1,288 yards and 11 touchdowns in 14 games. Now, I know it's college, but John, those are some nice numbers. Would you agree?
Most definitely. And, the Alabama Sooners are...
Oklahoma,
sorry. Yeah, sorry. I'm thinking of Alabama.
Crimson Tide.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Alabama right now because I was just thinking of Derrick Henry and
the running back, Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that he was going to land at the Panthers, but that's neither here nor there. Now you see where my brain is. I'm completely set on football, but the Sooner, he down there, it's a, they're gunslingers out there, so you're going to see a lot of wide receivers getting a lot of numbers, but also in the same token, when you're watching college football, secondaries are just not as developed as they are
absolutely.
in the pros. So
outside of quarterback, coming in as a wide receiver and cornerback, those are the hardest transitions.
Yeah.
A cornerback coming into the NFL,
because the cornerback in college is almost non-existent in a sense. It's like they're out there to basically allow the catch and almost take and tackle. That's it. Obviously, that's not the case, and that's not what their game plan is. But that's what it seems like, especially when 50 burgers are going up every weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, sticking with Sterling Shepard, I honestly think this kid could really thrive playing in Ben McAdoo's. He had a nice little 25-yard catch. This kid's going to get a lot of yards after the carry. Now, think about how lucky he is coming to a team with a 2-time Super Bowl champ and Odell Beckham Jr. on the outside. Now, defensive coordinators are going to be building game plans around Odell. This should leave Sterling Shepard open in the slot underneath, and I really think this kid is going to get a tremendous amount of yards after catch. We're going to see that yak number go sky high. Sam, would you agree? Do you see him getting a lot of yards after the catch going over the middle?
Yeah, I think so, and I think part of that will be because quite often it's quite hard to get yards after catch when you're in double coverage, and I think he's not going to see a lot of any double coverage. He sees single coverage.
Because they triple Odell.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah, and if he sees that single coverage, if he gets a bit of separation from single coverage, say they play man coverage, then I mean it's going to be quite easy in that situation for him to then maybe with two or three people on the other side to Odell, he can then, once he's got the ball in the man coverage, just turn and beat his man, and there's going to be no defender within 5 or 10 yards because he's single covered and the safeties are over to one side to try and stop Odell.
Yeah, but I mean, if you guys want to hear any more about that, you can also go over to voiceofbedlam.com. Check it out there. But for now, we're going to have to say see you later to Sam. But Sam, thanks for hanging out with us, man.
So thanks for having me on. I'll speak to you guys later.
All right, remember to check out Sam's article at voiceofbedlam.com, and you can find him on Twitter at SamStocksPFS. All right, everybody. Now we're going to welcome in singer of Hillside, New Jersey's own Blank 77, Mike Blanks. Mike, how you doing, man? Thanks for hanging out with us.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going pretty good, dude. Glad you're coming on the show. We're going to talk some NASCAR, talk some Jeff Gordon with you. How's that?
All right, yeah, something I know a little bit about, I guess.
All right, but I mean, we're definitely going to get into some of your music type stuff and all that with the various bands you've been a part of. But before we get there, so what do you think about Jeff Gordon coming out of retirement to sub in for Earnhardt Jr.?
Earnhardt, right? These Earnhardt fans, are very upset, right?
Yep.
But who cares? Jeff Gordon leaves last year. He leaves on a high note, and he comes back, and he doesn't do very well yet, but we'll see what happens. He's got another chance this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, this will be, I guess Earnhardt has missed 5 races. Gordon subbed in for the last 4. He came in 32nd in the AAA 400, 15th in the, he got 15th in the Go Bowling 400, 40th in Geico, and 13th last weekend, I guess, Toyota Owners 400. But they'll be down in Bristol this weekend. What do you think about that?
Bristol, I love Bristol. It's fantastic to go there. It's really good fun.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying maybe back the week after that, I think it's Michigan or something like that. They're hoping that Junior would be able to come back. But, I mean, you probably want Gordon to keep going. You must love having him coming out of retirement, huh?
Yeah, right.
Well, I'd rather see him, finish in the top 5 or something. But
yeah, at this point, where do you think he's better suited now? Now that you see that he came out of retirement, so he took that step from behind the desk, do you think at this point in his career, does he deserve to be behind the wheel still, or does he need to be behind the table giving people expert analysis?
Right. Well, I guess he can do both because, he's only an analyst.
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 Analyst. I guess it's a tomato. I guess I don't know.
Whichever you like. Yeah. He's only that for like the first half of the year, so it was perfect for Earnhardt Jr. to get his. I mean, not perfect. It was good timing on both people's parts.
There you go.
If it had to happen, there you go. Yeah.
So the stars aligned, right, for it all to go down.
Yeah. It got very exciting. The only thing I don't care for is I'm a huge Jeff Gordon fan ever since 1997. So it's been a while since and I collect all his die-cast cars and all that stuff. So since he started, I have about 10 to 20 cars every year.
Oh wow!
Like the 124 scale, blah blah blah. So that it's like a collection, and it's fun to collect them, blah blah blah. But so this now he comes back out of retirement and he drives Earnhardt's car. The car itself doesn't have Gordon's name on it at all.
Yeah. So
it's kind of like, so what do I do as a fan? Do I buy Earnhardt memorabilia just to say, oh yeah, but that one really Jeff Gordon.
Well, if you had the collection of all the cars that Jeff Gordon drove, I guess you kind of have to get the replica of the car that he drove.
Yeah.
The 88, you might have to get one of the 88s.
Yeah, maybe if he wins, I'll do it.
There you go. That's a good way. There you go.
Well, at the highest places he's got placed it, he called it was the 13th, right?
Yeah, last weekend.
Yeah. So.
All right, if he comes in 12th or better, I'll buy it.
Okay.
All right.
I
was like, now we're talking more realistic. Thank you.
But I mean, the race in Bristol goes down Saturday. You're not going to be able to see it. You guys got that show going on, the Punk Rock Block Party, Allentown, Pennsylvania, 12 to 8. Why don't you talk to me about that, Mike?
Well, maybe I'll just cancel that show.
It wouldn't be a bad idea.
Pull a nice little Axl Rose.
It's a bad idea for business, but but for the area that you're gonna be in, all right, it's not too bad. I don't think they're gonna miss it too much.
We'll see.
No, they're doing big things over there with that arena, though.
Oh, okay. Well, that's why God invented the DVR.
Yeah, there you go.
But you can't DVR a
two
punk
or
show.
three things at once.
He's talking about DVR and NASCAR to play the punk show.
Nah, man.
But I mean, why don't you give the show a nice little plug?
Sure. I don't know where it is.
It is Allentown on 4th Street. Yes, Allentown, 4th Street. It's from 12 to 8. I forget the exact address, but just look for all the people with the mohawks and follow them. That's what I would do when I could. Yeah.
That's how I when I show up late, that's what I do.
Yeah, just follow the mohawks and you'll get to the show. I mean, I hear if you throw in a nice little donation, they're saying you'll get some free beer. So throw in a little donation, get drunk with the guys. I mean, you guys are playing. Parasitics are playing. Who else is on the bill?
There's wow, you really put me on the spot here. I know the Parasitics are playing, and they're a bunch of shitheads. I can say that, right?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
That's fine.
So we have to deal with them again. This is. I think it's in like an art space or something.
Yeah.
Originally, it was supposed to be a block party, like outside.
Yeah, it's like an annual thing. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I never went, but hopefully it doesn't rain.
Well, actually, Mike, not to correct you, but you did play the punk rock block party in Bethlehem like 3 years ago, just so you know.
No, well, yeah, true, kind of. But I thought that was called the punk rock picnic.
Oh.
Ooh.
Damn.
He gotcha.
Damn.
Yeah.
Got him.
All right. Well, why don't we talk about your new album, The Split with the Parasitics, Getting Blasted. Sure. It's about time, dude. When did CBH come out? 1999 or 97, I think? It's been that long?
It's been, I think 99. I can't remember. But, yeah. I mean, basically, we did nothing. Well, I mean, as the Blanks, we did nothing since then.
Yeah. What finally, guys, made you get together and lay down those, 4 tracks you got on the album?
Yeah, I think it's 5 songs we did, and actually the Parasitics asked us they're like, what the hell are you, or something. Someone asked us to be on a comp, and put new songs, and we're like, all right, let's try it. And then we went in and we did the 2 songs, and they sounded good,
What was that? Pills and Hey You?
Pills and Tanked and Pogoed.
Tanked and Pogoed, okay.
Right. So then we did them. They sounded really good. And then the guy that was going to put out the comp kind of disappeared off the face of the earth. So then the Parasitics were becoming friends with us. And then they're like, well, if you make a few more, they'll do like 5 songs and we could put out a full 12-inch LP.
There you go. It sounds great. I'm glad they talked you into it. I mean, you guys have like a total of something like 19 releases, including singles. But I want you to think back to Unite and Pogo and tell me what it was like when that was coming out. Unite and Pogo, what was that, 90, 91?
That was probably 91. Yeah. So that was well, before that, even I think we did a demo tape.
Yeah, you guys covered Blitzkrieg Bop on it, I believe.
Okay. Well, before that, we did like 3 demo tapes. But yeah. But then so at this point we're playing shows, blah blah blah. We're going up to Connecticut and New York and Pennsylvania and shit like that. And then so this guy who was having shows in his basement in Connecticut is also like, wow, you guys are, bearable. Do you want to put a record out? And then that's how Unite and Pogo came about.
Very good. Very good.
That was our first vinyl.
Yeah. And then I believe it was Destroy Your Generation, and then Up the System was the 10-inch. That was the one where you really started to make things happen, though. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah, that was very exciting, I guess. Someone actually from, at this point, Maximum Rock and Roll was a big-time punk rock go-to magazine, like weekly, or was it monthly? Monthly. You'd get Maximum Rock and Roll and skim through it and read the ads and see what new records are coming out and shit like that. And that's how we, that's how people learned about bands back then.
Now,
we didn't have Facebook yet.
How did you guys end up with Nasty Vinyl in Germany for the Killer Blanks?
This guy, his name was Hani, and he was a friend of mine. He was a friend of a friend of mine, and he shows up at my house one day. Germans, there's always drinking.
Yeah.
So he comes busting through the door. He's like, "Oh my goodness," and blah blah blah. So we go to a show and hang out, and he's like, "Oh, I want to see this Blank 77," and I think the Blanks played, and he came to see us, and he's like, "I'm going to put your record out in Germany," and blah blah blah. It just happened. It was, we got lucky.
That's awesome. Really cool. I mean, I also remember you guys put out a split, and it had Police Attack, and I noticed you guys do a fair amount of cover songs. My favorite is London Boys by Johnny Thunders. You guys threw that on with Police Attack. What, out of the cover songs you guys have done over the years, what would you say your favorite one was to play?
My favorite one to play is actually, we're going to do it on Saturday, is the Dead Boys Sonic Reducer.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why. It's all my favorites. No,
I got a Dead Boys shirt on right now.
Oh, see? It's telepathy.
There you go.
Yeah. No, but that one, I think the band, Blanks, we just play that one really well. And even though, sometimes you pick a song and it's like, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You can't play it good.
See, now, I have always thought that you guys are kind of an updated version. Like, I could tell you're very influenced by the Dead Boys. Like, you know what I mean? Would you agree that the Dead Boys are a big influence for you guys?
Yeah. I mean, New York punk rock is, especially the beginning, We always did our homework on, bands and music and, I mean, God, you just have to start with the Ramones, right?
Yeah.
And then you see what evolves around them and what they came from and what they listened to, and take it from there, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I use that philosophy a lot when it came to my, I guess, bringing in music. I would look at my favorite bands and look at my favorite band's band.
Yeah, exactly.
And then if you trace it back, you find, the roots. And then, but then again, I also fell into the whole like Alice when I was tracing the roots. So at least I was just chasing roots though. But, speaking of roots, your roots are from New Jersey, right?
Yes, I was born and raised here.
No, I was born in Jersey, and Mr. Drew over here, he's also from Jersey. Now,
Irvington.
Now there's a recent
Irvington, Union, Elizabeth.
I'm from Hunterdon
County,
County, so
I grew up in Hillside.
Yep. Yeah, you went to. Isn't that where the whole band's from? Pretty much Hillside.
Well, Renee came from Patterson, and Chad came from Irvington. And Tim always was out. Well, Tim wasn't our first bass player, but our first bass player came from Wayne.
Wayne, New Jersey.
All right. So North Jersey in the house.
Yeah, it's near whatever.
Yeah. But the reason why I brought that up is because one of my favorite Jersey bands, Dillinger Escape Plan, announced that they're gonna hang it up. Did you ever get a chance to either catch one of their basement shows? Because I know you mentioned basement shows, or did you ever come across their material and appreciate maybe some of their stuff?
Unfortunately, I don't recall.
Okay, yeah.
I maybe we played with them here and there, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I would not expect you to remember every person that you played with over your, such a long career, because we had my friend Corey on last week, and I'm sure he has a hard time remembering some of the shows that he's played, but but I just thought I'd ask because, it anytime there's a Jersey band that's doing well, I always like to give a little shout out because it's like we only have one professional sports team representing the whole entire state, and that's the New Jersey Devils. So,
there you go.
But let's switch gears a little bit here, and I want to move things over to the Sex, Drugs, and Alcohol band, starting them off young. Why don't you tell me how that album came to be when Blank 77 was on hiatus, I guess. That's all you guys without Renee, right? And Tim over on guitar.
Yeah. I guess the Blanks have hit a brick wall. You know what I mean? And I don't even know the year. Maybe 2001, and we just didn't. I guess we all just didn't want to be with each other anymore. You know what I mean?
Just a divorce.
Yeah, well, okay. Unfortunately, though, we did the S.D.A.B.s, and then it's all the Blanks except for the girl in the band. So we did that, and Renee actually did her own thing. She was in a band called the Dean and the Sex Machines.
Yep.
So anyway, the S.D.A.B.s, we just started out, Chad, Tim, and I. With a couple, we just wanted a fun goofball kind of band, a little country twang in there, and
I love that part.
Slower down rock and roll, punk rock, and some of the I love it. I still play it. I still play about I still like to hear like 4 or 5 songs on that.
Well, I mean, I'd have to say the best ones are Knock Knock Knock, Permanent Binge. Yeah. What was the last track before the Beth rendition? Oh, by the way, can you tell me what Thora really thinks of Chad's rendition of Beth? You guys,
it's miraculously, it's like I go over Chad's and he puts on the CD and that song doesn't play anymore. I don't know how that happened.
Oh, jeez, I don't know. But did you guys do a lot of show as the S.D.A.B.s or not too much?
Not really. We played at a church in Brooklyn, somewhere in New York, I don't know, Queens or something.
One of them boroughs.
Yeah, we did a few shows with Total Chaos.
From the California Total Chaos.
Yes. We went to Boston, so very few shows, maybe, I don't know, a dozen. And go ahead. Just one more thing. This band, it has a pulse, and we can do it again. But
the S.D.A.B.s you're talking about.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Why not?
You've got to.
We just need we would need because
I play bass. I play bass.
But we need a good bass player.
I'm a phenomenal.
He's actually pretty good, so I'll give him that.
Well, we could do that. We'll talk on Saturday.
Yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm. But I know with Blanks, though, kicking it back over there, you've toured Europe, twice?
Oh, yeah, we went to Europe. We went back when the borders were still closed and there was no euro yet.
Yeah, okay.
And, it was really funny. It was every day was an adventure because we'd have to try to get into another country. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And now it's a lot more free moving, but not back then, I guess, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, not back then. Yeah, it was very difficult. And one tour we go over, we start in England, and we tour all around England, and we have this English driver. We rent a van, and he's our driver, and he's taking us around. And then we just kept getting into problems with people in the crowd. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like this one night, this guy is he's drunk, wasted, blah blah blah, and he comes over and he knocks our mirror off the side of our van. So we're driving around with no mirror, and then the very next night we go to another show, and someone gets drunk, wasted, and knocks that mirror off our van. So we're driving around Europe with no mirrors on the van.
Oh, jeez. And there's no speed limits and stuff there too, huh?
And there's no speed limit. Yeah, it's crazy. And then we would stop on our way to, and every show. The next few days we'd be stopping trying to get mirrors. Because we rented the van and we can't just give it back broken. So, Unfortunately, we had to steal the mirrors off some parked car's van, and I still feel bad about it to this day. But
Well, that shows the heart in Blank 77.
I know. We will rob you and feel
bad for
about
it.
later.
I feel bad, but they feel remorseful.
At least you won't help them look for it. You know what I mean? You won't rob them and then help them look for it.
Now,
Well, I don't know. The worst part was I robbed it, and then I was filming the mirrors.
No confessions, Mike. Don't confess to anything.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay. It was a long time ago.
No.
So I'm walking around with this mirror in my coat, right? And then we got lost trying to get back to the place we were playing. So I had to ask the cop for directions.
Oh, jeez.
Oy.
Wow, that must have been rough. What country was that in, do you think?
Oh, shit. Probably Germany.
Probably Germany. Yeah, a lot of good times in
Probably.
Germany, I bet, huh? A lot of drunken nights.
Yeah, they're really good to bands there. They treat you good. They party all night, and yeah, it's good.
Speaking of, now you've been in the industry for quite some time.
Almost
now.
30
All right.
years.
Oh,
Now-
thanks.
So you've seen the evolution of the underground music and how it became popular with pop punk. Bands like Newfound Glory that were led up by Chad Gilbert, formerly of Shai Hulud. I don't know if you got into them. I got into Shai Hulud. That's how I found about Newfound Glory. I loved that.
I didn't listen to any of those
But
bands.
anywho, so coming out of that, the Green Day getting up there, and then you also see today's artists, maybe like A Day to Remember, showing some signs of punk rock being in that in the
Like a subgenre?
in the subgenres now, because the subgenres kind of took over the main genres. It seemed like from the early 2000s to now. But so, are there any bands that kind of either fell in between that you think that should have gotten that extra push? Were there bands like AFI that you think that shouldn't have made that jump to commercial? Or what's your thoughts over the last few years of how the scene's evolved?
I think the Blanks should have been bigger.
I agree. Absolutely.
We would have been fun. We would have had a good. It's difficult because you're in your band and you're just trying to play and do your thing, and when you're in your mid-20s is just the best time, because you don't need a real job yet if if you're lucky enough to have supportive family around you, and so you can go out on tour and stuff like that, So our band was very lucky to be able to do that and have jobs where we can leave every twice a year for 2 weeks at a time or 3 weeks at a time and come back to them. And what was the question?
Basically, like you watched punk rock go into the mainstream with pop punk bands. What were your thoughts around that period and where your band was at that time?
Yeah. I think at the time you're always kind of I think you're kind of jealous.
Okay.
You're like, oh, how come Rancid gets to?
Yeah. How come they're playing Ruby Soho on MTV?
Right. How come they get to do that? And how come we have to open for them?
Yeah. Well, I think the Tony Hawk Pro Skater game kind of helped push them into different demographics that they normally wouldn't have reached.
Right. I think a big thing about getting popular like that is where you're from. Unfortunately, being on the East Coast, we have really good bands over here, but they just don't get the recognition like the California bands do.
Oh, I agree.
You turn on Sirius XM.
Yeah.
I listen to Marky Ramone's Blitzkrieg or whatever.
Okay.
Right, this radio show. And your radio show too, Andrew.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Yeah. No, but the bulk of the songs on the more commercial radio is all these bands.
Oh, you mean the what the hell do we call that? The Pogo City Radio you're talking about?
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
Music, the music radio show, not the sports one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
just say yeah, sure, good. All right, cool. It makes me happy. Thanks.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm trying to say is you got to get lucky, right? I mean, from the East Coast, really, I think the only band that really, the Bouncing Souls did pretty good, right?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I would say so.
What would you say about the
okay.
Casualties now?
They have a new record out now, I think, too.
The Casualties really stuck it out.
Yeah. They changed quite a bit, though, their sound.
They sure did. They had a lot of I mean, what do they have? One original member?
Yeah, the singer. Yeah.
So
Right. But the bulk of the band has been around for.
It's about 90. That's that lineup that they have with Rick on bass. Rick came in during the Stay Out of Order album, which was 98, I believe. They've had about that same lineup. Yeah.
So they I mean, good for them. They you know, and they're doing great right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, I know they keep putting out albums. I mean, not really my cup of tea anymore, but they are putting out albums though.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. But you know, they're still playing and they want to do it, so that's fantastic.
So I have a quick question then. So is there any new bands that capture your old soul? Because like I'm an old soul in the sense of, you know, with my music as well. Like I'm starting to realize that some of these newer bands I'm very extra picky about now, and it's like
right.
So
well, that's what happens when you turn 30.
Yep, exactly.
Well, yes.
No, but there is a band. Actually, there's a band I've been I've seen now a couple times called Crazy and the Brains.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard of them yet, but they're really cool. They do they're almost like like Johnny Thunders, right?
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
No, but well, they took music from the girl bands of the 50s.
All right.
Those
like my boyfriend's back and he's coming to get you.
Yeah. So they take that kind of music and they actually have an xylophone player.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, but it's very punk rock and it's to me they're my favorite new band.
Yeah, the last new punk band like that I checked out was War on Women.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Sounds like
yeah. Well, it's a feminist. It's a feminist punk
Lifetime.
band. Yeah, it's a feminist punk band.
Like a Bikini Kid.
Ironically, one of my friends toured with them, and he is a he. So
he is a he.
He is a he. So, but he toured with War.
Are you sure? Did you lift up the skirt?
I have not.
Okay.
But if you would like to, I could arrange that for you to check, and then you can come back on the podcast and let us know what the conclusion is.
We might have to save that for the other podcast.
Yeah, we'll do some video too. We'll put it on Instagram.
Wow, we're pushing it here.
Or start a Twitter poll.
All right, Mike. But I mean, we had a lot of fun talking to you, man. Thanks for setting some time aside for us. We're glad you came on. Everybody, make sure. I mean, we got an event going on Sunday, also.
Saturday.
My mistake. Saturday.
Yeah, the same time. So you have to pick. Either you're gonna punk rock with them, or you're gonna punk rock with us.
You can go to both.
You can go to both.
Yeah,
what time is your show? What time is your set time?
The Blanks will play by 6:30.
6:30. Yeah, that's we'll be wrapping things up around 6. So it's the next town over.
Hurry.
Yeah, it's the next town over. You guys got to go run over there and check out Blank 77 this Saturday. Make sure you pick up a new copy of their split with the Parasitics, Getting Blasted on Jailhouse Records.
Get your vinyl now.
That's right. Absolutely. Check out the new album. All right.
And they can buy a T-shirt. When they're
say hi to Johnny at the merch.
Do you have any
stand,
like ignorantly colored shirts? Because I definitely need some new gear.
What color do you like?
Like, I don't know, like for fluorescent ignorant colors. Like if there's a hot pink or if like there's like a hot green, like neon green and stuff, man, I'm all about it.
Just pee on it. I don't know.
Maybe they can pee on it.
Yeah, is it white? We could tie dye it.
Oh, yeah, we can do that too.
Yeah, we'll tie. Although that's kind of weird, a hippie punk rocker shirt.
I don't know. You got things like Against Me.
I don't
nowadays.
get that. No, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, no, all right. Yeah.
All right.
I was just, you know, with all these bands mixing genres and stuff, I thought, you know, maybe we could bring some of that new age, new wave, millennial shit to this guy over here.
That's the one thing you're not going to get out of us. Change.
Well, then that means that you will always produce consistent material.
That's how I like it.
All right. Yeah, we'll take it.
Hey, you guys, I've gotten a chance to listen to some of it. I'll have to say that, you know, it came new to me thanks to Andrew. And you guys, you sound raw. You know, you sound like a raw punk band, and you feel it. You know, the major thing that I attribute whether or not I'm going to listen to a band ever is when I listen to that track, do I feel like I was in that room with you, and do I get an emotional reaction out of that song? Like, if you listen to Metallica's Blackened and you don't start wanting to feel like you want to like launch into battle or something, then yes, then you're not feeling it. So but I feel your material. I'm a hardcore punk kid at heart, and I'm glad to see that there's bands out there still keeping it real.
Yeah, but we try. As I just want people to get a boner. That's it.
There you go.
Get a boner, and
you will at the Blank show. So head there.
Yeah, we
this
guarantee
Saturday.
it. Yes. If you don't get it from the music, you might get it another way.
There you go.
That's what we can do.
All right.
Scantily clad and dressed in plaid.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, we're going to have to wrap things up for this week. Thanks for hanging out with us for the past hour. Big thanks to Mike Blanks coming on to the show, talking some NASCAR, talking about the band. But make sure you guys go out, check out the show on Saturday. Make sure you also hit up Bedlam's Fantasy Bash live from Mother's Bar and Grill. Have a chance to maybe get on the show, join one of the leagues. We're going to be having a blast. Remember to go over to voiceofbedlam.com and check them out. And if you guys never heard Blank 77 before, all the music on today's show is Blank 77. Go check them out. Hit them up on Facebook. I guess probably facebook.com/Blank77. But for that, thanks to Sam for coming on tonight, and we'll catch you guys later. For John, Mike Blanks, I'm Andrew Bedlam, and we're getting the hell out of here.
See you Saturday.